Yeah. Fuck yeah. We made some emitters tonight.
We
That's the important part. And you can buy them as an NFT on Nifty Gateway.
well,
Get over there.
we have a deduplication system, so nothing gets past that.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each emitter is a bespoke handcrafted NFT that you see destroyed before your very eyes.
So what we really learned, 82 streams into this project, is that we're the greatest. That's
It's
the
you
lesson
know
at the end of
it's
the day.
it's weird because I think we knew that on like stream two as well, but it's definitely coming up on
That's
stream two a
right,
lot.
because we did make that one breakout game, which I believe still ranks up there, and like there's a lot of recency bias in the top 10 lists, but I'm pretty sure that's up there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have no
All
idea what's
right. The
going on with the
fire the
particle
fire
type.
is fixed. That
Is it fixed now? Okay.
yeah, so I my little fire emitter was configured to like point up like a fire before we had orientation. So the
Okay.
default,
Yeah.
so now it's on the orientation because I've put my spread around zero.
Got it.
And so I can point it straight up with this, and this one I think is just rotating it. Yeah, it's not doing anything because it's an upwards one.
It
We
probably is
we
rotating
could,
it, but you can't tell.
exactly, yeah. We
Yeah.
kind of went ham on this thing, didn't we?
On this tool,
Yeah.
I think it was all necessary, right?
Oh, I mean, I,
To be
is Went
usable.
Ham? Yeah, is Went Ham bad? I feel like we did great.
No, and now we can gussy it up, like
Ooh,
we can customize the fonts and everything like that. Yeah.
now you're talking. I mean, I've been sprinkling just a touch of CSS here and
I've
there.
noticed. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the label on the orientation slider to sit inside of that div, which is to say I didn't actually really try to fix it. But you notice the
Oh,
zero is kind of popped out of it.
yeah. There's a special for this range, whatever our scaled range is.
Yeah.
If it sees a label, it puts some CSS on there. So
I see.
I will happily go in and tweak it a little more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is I think it's at a point now where we could feasibly use it and attach to things in runtime.
Absolutely.
The idea here is I took the origin slider completely out. I just figured we probably weren't going to be positioning. It didn't really matter for us to be able to position the origin of the emitter somewhere else. We may end up having some fancy particle situations where there are going to be multiple emitters that are offset from each other by a certain amount, but
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah.
I think, an edge case, right? So what I did is I took the origin slider completely out, and I also made orientation. Honestly, orientation doesn't even need to be in this tool, but it does help visualize certain things. But
It's
the
great. Yeah.
if the orientation was basically just like set to the identity quaternion, you can expect your particle emitter to shoot particles down the positive z-axis, which is the blue axis,
Yep. Yep.
which is fine. That's the way all of our models face. And so what you
Hmm.
can do when you're actually putting something into the game is you can set the orientation of the emitter and its origin to like whatever you want, and then rotate it using our typical rotation stuff, and it'll point the direction that you expect. So I think that's probably going to be like the common thing for us. Um,
Yeah. So if I manage to make this emitter actually emit in the game, I would expect it to come out looking like this for whatever I'm doing. But
yeah,
the
if it's like
orientations.
where the tank gets hit, for example, or
Mhm.
if this is the muzzle flare or something like that. Yeah,
Yep.
you can use run whatever positioning you have in terms of the game logic. You can pick that orientation, set it into the emitter, and it should do what you expect.
Yeah. See, I was just going for a pleasing campfire here, to be honest.
Okay, we don't have any campfires in the game yet, do we?
Not yet. But no, it was just a fun trial with multiple emitters, and it worked out really well.
We never made the emitters shoot out the dog.
Yeah. I mean, well, what? Oh, shoot out the dog. Oh.
Yeah,
Uh, we could.
it
So
should
yeah,
theoretically be possible. I don't know how much needs to change, but
that raises some great questions for tonight, which we could make the emitter shoot the dog, which would be cool. Or we can make the dog shoot the emitter.
yeah, probably the latter is going to be more useful to us long term. But
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Like,
the former is a good technical exercise.
I guess I was thinking, yeah, if we how are we feeling about triangles in here as our particles? It's kind of a dope aesthetic.
What's wrong with it? I'm fine with the
Okay.
triangles for now. Um,
Okay, cool.
yeah, I mean, eventually, maybe one of the configurations for the emitter is to actually choose the mesh,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah. As usual, every time we crack open one of these tools, I'm just like, there's a million things we could do.
yeah.
It's great.
Um, so
Cool.
just to build on the principle of what the particles are doing right now,
Hmm.
basically, the spread, which is a great idea, by the way.
Ah, thanks.
Basically, um, assuming that if you're like facing down the positive z-axis, right, which is where
Hmm.
like the tool used to start, right?
Pair off.
Basically, yeah, like this. Spread x and spread y. The x is just basically like if you're facing towards the emitter, we'll just widen or narrow it'll widen or narrow the spread, and
Yeah, so we've got
it'll do
like,
so asymmetrically actually. And
yep.
then y will widen or narrow it along the vertical axis.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's cool. So we can have these like half moon things. We can kind of, yeah, I really like the way the stuff worked, and I love that you can drag this around
No, it's
too.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out good.
And then in principle, the all of the particles should be oriented in the direction that they're moving, right? So if you like for every triangle should be facing outwards, which I think is roughly the case.
Yeah, I think you might have fixed something around that too, from what
I
I.
did, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Um, the spread originally was just setting the velocity without actually updating the orientation of the mesh itself, and now
Yeah,
like the velocities and the facings are aligned with each other.
nice,
Yeah.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot we can build out of this now, which is really nice.
Yeah, it feels like we've settled on the MVP for
A
an
hu- a
emitter.
hundred
Yeah.
percent. Yeah. I think maybe a couple things that we haven't explored are just like emitters that stop. We haven't really done much of the
Oh
emitter
yeah, we should
life
probably add a
cycle yet,
TTL. Yeah.
which I think we have one too. They just all are unlimited, and I think there's
Correct.
some. I think there's some code to clean itself up too, right?
Yep. It hasn't really been
Yeah.
tested, but it is possible. For the particle tool, I thought like briefly about somehow trying to line them, but I wasn't sure how to. We would almost need like a timeline editor because you can have an
Mhm.
emitter TTL, but do they all start at the same time? Is that what we feel like we think makes sense, or
That is a great question.
yeah,
It could be like emitter TTL and then wait before and wait after,
like
because then you could
like an
you could
offset? Yeah,
yeah, you could line up as many loops as you wanted to with that, in a sort of manageable way. It is going to be a timeline editor.
yeah.
That's
You
cool.
could probably get away with saying like there is the emitter TTL, and then there's the time before you start, and then the size of the loop is the largest sum of those two values across all the emitters, right? Something like that.
You've been playing Magnum Opus.
Oh, it's funny. I with Opus Magnum, I actually didn't really know how
That's
to understand that mechanic. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it through my head like how they were doing that like automatic padding thing.
gotcha.
But maybe it's similar to what I just described.
I think that was it. Yeah, it was like your loop always took the longest cycle, including like time to reset,
Right.
which was pretty cool. Um, the other thing I was thinking of that we don't have here that I'm like not 100% on, but uh, I was wondering like right now everything spawns from this origin, kind of full stop, right? And I was wondering if we'd actually want to spawn things at a distance past the origin, or if we want to spawn like along a plane with a velocity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
There,
we should do any of that right now, but like future features for sure.
the basic emitter has a configuration parameter called the translation offset, which is basically exactly what
Oh,
you just said, although it doesn't
cool.
necessarily express it in semantics that are easy to reason about. Right? It's
Mm,
a multi-lerp across two different vec3s. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
So I think what that actually means is you basically are, imagine the crust of the planet. Like, what do you call the surface of a sphere but with depth? Is there a name for that? Like a shell.
Oh,
It's a shell.
yeah, shell's a good word. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking like, yeah, a shell because the emitter almost looks too noisy generating from the point instead of from a shell. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that vec3 specifies a shell. Um,
Cool. Ah,
no,
well,
a
that's
shell
sick.
implies a constant radius. That vec3 is complicated, actually. It's
I was
basically
gonna say, does it
saying, yeah. Go ahead.
does it move it just? I was thinking about setting it so we can see.
Yeah, it actually specifies a sphere. So
Okay.
if you set the min and max to like the same absolute value, one of them is negative, one of them is positive. Essentially, the particles will spawn within a sphere, like a constant radius sphere around the origin, or so I believe.
Oh, that's really cool. Where did our basic emitter config go?
The default basic emitter config is
Ah, over
here.
here.
Yeah,
Cool.
you can just set it here. Oh, it already is doing that. Try making that bigger. Try making it like 1.
Okay.
And it should look a whole lot messier as a result.
Cool. Let's see. So I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to make a new emitter, unfortunately. Oh yeah, it does. That's really cool. Okay. Well, thanks for already doing the thing I was thinking of.
Does it seem like they're coming out of a wider area as well?
It totally does. Oh, yeah, here I'll put this back
I'm
down.
not I'm not sure whether that the way that we're expressing it right now is the easiest to reason about. So
mm,
we like, for example, we went from having an orientation range that is specified very similar to what we have for the translation offset. We
mhm.
went from that to doing spread, which is a lot easier to think about, right? Um,
Yes, I really like spread. It made a lot of sense in my brain when I was putting that together. So
yeah,
I'm glad. I'm
doing
glad you like it.
try doing like something like
Shit.
a -3 to 3. So
Okay.
put -3 on all of those, and this should be around the origin, but it should look like a big cluster around the origin, theoretically. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally does. And I see what you're saying, where it's actually the spawn in point is sort of all over this.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That is kind of what I wanted, actually. Yeah, because now it's not exactly so fiery.
Mm-hmm.
And if I spread this out, cool. Then they just start
They should start
going
to
from.
fan. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So
You
we can
congratulations, you made an ashtray.
basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or more modern art. This shit is so good. Cool. All right. Well, this is great. I'm glad that's there. We can just add that control later.
Yeah.
Oh
What
shit.
happens if we set those to 0?
I good question.
It should look
I,
way tighter, I think.
mhm. By the way, I think when we delete emitter, oh, it's very yeah, it is a laser beam.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, you're saying when we delete a.
Deleting emitters doesn't actually. We need to pass the delete call back up to the actual emitter system.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
At Mubby.
Do you think the spread should be symmetric, or do you think we'll ever want to do asymmetric spreads?
I kind of was happy just to keep it as two sides of a range slider. I thought about doing like half of a or the quarter of a sphere that you're spreading on it and making it symmetrical all the time, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the other way we could do this is assume that it's symmetric, and then what you're choosing is it's just from 0 to 2 pi on both axes. Like like how much
I
of
see.
the arc in front of the center.
Yeah. That might be nicer. Actually. That might make more sense.
Yeah.
Then you just spread it out that far. Yeah, okay. I'll buy that. More for us to tweak.
Okay.
it is definitely it definitely has a great MVP to it though. And let me just pop some JSON back in here. This looks like it. Yeah.
I wonder why the orientation is offset to the. Oh, is this?
This is my dumb upside down one.
Oh, I see.
Don't
I see.
worry.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
because the spread. This. Yeah, I see. It might be good if we make the spreads symmetric
Yeah.
whenever, so that we're not tempted to abuse the spread to
I
change
I think that's
orientations.
I think
We'll
that's
just get
the best
confused.
reason.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Exactly. Yeah, because what I actually want is that.
Yeah,
So
totally. And you're getting good at that.
good at what?
Uh, Tweaking this emitter to do what you want.
Oh yeah. Strangely practiced at this emitter now.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should make the dog shoot some sparks.
Okay.
Let's back over to this thing in a hot minute. So yeah, do you want to do like should we start with Muzzle Flare? That seems like maybe the most straightforward one
It
to
does.
tackle. Cool. All right, so we've got this particle system. It does just eat emitters. Like this is pretty generic, and yeah, I guess we could just. I guess it's not in our systems, but I think adding this to our client loop makes sense to me.
Yeah. I'm excited to figure out a better way of triggering the particle streams.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And this is actually probably the reason why I procrastinated on thinking about this, because it's actually a hard problem. Before we would pass the particle registration function, the emitter registration function, as the sim state, so like every system would basically get that as a function call.
Yep.
I wonder though, now that we have the notion of it's not client messages, I think we have some kind of event stream, right? We have some event stream of side effects on the client side.
Oh, right. That's the way is player input doing that? No, or is it actually tank mover?
Yeah, I think that's how our knockback works, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do we have that in here? We do. Oh yeah, frame event types. Cool.
So we could have a separate system that reads these and then causes cosmetic side effects to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as each of these events has enough data in them to describe the what they need.
Yeah, I like that. Frame events, are we okay, cool. So actually we don't hand them to some of our other simulation phases. That's cool.
We should.
Well, I thought this was our sort of hack for. Well, maybe not. Oh, maybe they start off as empty every frame. Okay.
So, yeah.
I was gonna say these are resimulated, right? Like how do we prevent it from the million particle emitters again? I like the frame event system, but they are sort of replayed, right?
Yeah. So you're raising a really good question, because I think it's a hard problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and in our tank mover, we have tank hit. How is like what sets tank hit more than once? We send this knockback. Oh, it's because we apply a velocity and then that's it. Okay, sure. That
I
makes sense.
think we need some kind of deduplication logic that keeps a log of what happened and doesn't attempt to redo something if it sees it in the log.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a tricky problem to solve.
It is. As I say, this sounds extremely familiar because I think what we did this time was we had emitters per frame, or like emitters were created with their frame attached to them, so we could try not to recreate it. It was like emitter entity and frame were like our unique combo is what we tried to do.
I think that sounds familiar. I don't know if we
Yeah.
actually successfully. I don't know if we actually made an implementation that did what we wanted.
I don't think we quite did, but we were close. We had solid intentions. Um,
Yeah. So I
hmm,
think
okay.
one way we could start this. I mean, we basically we have to figure out a way of like labeling the events along with their frames. So
Mhm.
one way that we
Which
could do that. What would this event actually look like? It's like tank shoot, right? And what's in tank shoot? What data is in there right now?
great question. Um,
Yeah.
that is it. And this is because we just generate this from like this is a yeah, weirdly a stateless event, right? Because it gets created on server frames and it gets created on simulation frames. And these frame events are actually just redone every time with
Right.
no deduplication.
And that's those are fine. The duplication of their side effects for reasons of knockback are fine because we
Hmm.
roll back the positions, right? So
Exactly.
we actually do want to replay them.
Hmm.
So it's actually the consumer that needs to do the deduplication if they need it, right? It's the consumer of these events, which could be anybody. Uh,
Yeah, and it's interesting, but these are actually I feel like these messages are what I do want to consume. Um,
for doing particle events, I would agree with you. Yeah.
yeah, it's like if we got these two working, that'd be great. It's nice that it works in our prediction because we'll have future frame events. Well, it doesn't future we don't care about. We're not gonna. Oh no, sorry, we are in the future, so we do care. But yeah, whatever system is tracking the emitters, we're gonna come up with the same thing we did last time. But this time maybe we'll do it right because it's net play from the start.
Yeah, well, I think one way to do this would be we well, okay, this isn't going to be perfect, but we're like perfect is hard. Let's so
Yeah,
let us not make perfect the enemy of the good. I'm
exactly.
Barack Obama suddenly.
I we've all been saying that longer than him.
Okay,
Don't let him take that great phrase.
okay. Um, so I think for the tank shoot events, like deduplication always requires some kind of like deduplication log.
Hmm.
So we could have a deduplication log that basically has it's an array or it is a key value object whose keys are the frame number
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
values are sets of strings basically. And the strings are basically some kind of digest of the event that lets us essentially uniquely identify the event.
Gotcha. So it'll be like I'll make this a little bigger.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like we're gonna say we're on like frame 5, and our list is like we have a tank hit, a entity 40, and a tank shoot from I don't know something like that. Like these
That
could be
is
strings.
exactly right. So probably the prefix is the name of the event,
Hmm.
some delimiter, and then whatever values we think are useful in uniquely identifying that event.
Hmm.
For shooting, I think it's enough to just identify the shooter because it only happens once, right? Like you can only shoot once per frame.
Yes, correct. Tank hit is a little harder, right? If you're getting hit from both sides, we do want both emitters to pop.
Yeah, and then we might need more information about the event, such as basically something that gives you a genealogy of that event. It could be the entity that hit you, their ID, right? It could be
Yeah.
the player that attacked you or the entity that originated the attack. Like,
Hmm.
and it's kind of nasty, but I think we have to come up with this logic for every single one of those events and just basically think about every single event and say, like, how do I deduplicate this in the most effective way?
Here's a weird, strange idea.
Yeah.
Um, what if this was like, what if our events were just unique and every one of these had a UUID on it?
The problem is those
Because
UUIDs will be different for frames that we replay, unless we have some way of
oh
deriving
yeah,
them. They need basically. I think what I'm saying is they need to be content addressable somehow. Does that
yep, yep,
is that a description that makes sense?
yeah. No, that's fair.
Because otherwise, if we
Yeah,
were just using UUIDs, they'd be different on resim, right?
that's right. Because these are getting replayed. So frame number. Hmm. Um, crap. We probably can't count on something like our monotonically increasing entity ID that we've used other places because these actually will show up sort of out of order.
So we could do it randomly if we synchronized random seeds across the network, right? Like
Hmm.
that's kind of what you're getting at. What I worry about though is that, like, let's say you shoot in a frame
Hmm.
and you're player four, and it gets predicted on your side, so you're going to play that explosion. But it turns out that player one also shot on that same frame. And they're probably
Yeah.
going to get during resim. They're probably going to get simulated before you, just assuming that like the players get simulated in their numeric order,
Yep.
which means that the randomness is, or if it's a monotonically increasing integer, it has the same properties in this regard, where the resim will add things to the history of events that are interleaved between things that you predicted, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, yeah. I guess every one of this could be like a micro format of whatever we need to fit in here. If this is like, I don't know, I'm just putting some angles, but if tank hit is like ID and then 2D angle that it hit that tank at, I don't know. Whatever this orientation should be for that, but
And the problem is that the orientation itself is also derived from simulation state, so that could change. So like
mm,
we have to try to only include information that we know cannot change. Um, so the entity
mhm.
ID, for example, is never going to change, right? That's I think
Yep.
that's guaranteed to be fairly stable. Um, I also thought some other things that we could do, and the ramifications of this are a little bit unpleasant, but you could, for every single event, you could feasibly trace back to the input that caused it. I'm not actually sure that's 100% true, but
Hmm.
I'm making the conjecture that most events probably have an input that caused it. The input came from a particular player and it happened on a specific frame, and it was a particular type of input. And those things happen to be
Oh,
the things that are
gotcha.
guaranteed to be synchronized across all clients, right? So you could
Hmm.
theoretically thread that chunk of data through all of our events. Um, Now, where it gets nasty is
Interesting. Yep.
you might not necessarily have direct access to that because your event might have been indirectly caused by player input, which means that like we have to somehow plumb the player input information throughout a lot of different systems. And this is where my conjecture might go a little bit sideways, is like, is it actually true that you can trace an event back to the input that created it? And I don't know, but the
Hmm.
input is the most reliable thing that we can use for deduplication. Is what is, I think, an easier thing to think through. Yeah.
Mm, gosh. Okay.
But we only have to solve the problem
Um,
right now for hits and for shots. And shots is the easier thing because shots definitely is directly
mhm.
like, I actually think frame and NDID is like plenty until a tank can shoot multiple times per frame, right? until it take.
Yep,
Yeah,
and let's maybe never let it do that.
but possibly yes.
Yeah, it's possibly, but hit multiple times per frame, very, very possible.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah,
You could easily shoot. Like, what if you had a spreader gun, right? That's multiple shots
that's
per.
interesting.
Although the spreader gun is still just one shot, right? Still might be just one particle effect.
It's one shot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Many, many bullets. Yeah. So if we, so tank shoot seems pretty straightforward. Tank hit is the external, is like an external stimuli coming at you. So we have like
Do we know who hit whom? Do we know the
tank two
attacker?
shot this frame. Tank two was hit this frame.
You could say Tank Two was hit
I
this
was gonna say we,
frame
we know we
by,
know the bullet ID, which could be
and we can even label the hitter.
this. So this is like our NCID for the bullet that hit it.
Or what can be on the other
Okay.
side of that last colon could be some arbitrary identifier that includes the category. So it could be bullet colon 123 because there might be other things that cause the hit, right? Something like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
But everything that you
Okay. Well, let's
even if we don't have that
start with
tag there,
shoot.
I think that's a really good start.
Okay.
And in fact, before we have
Yeah.
before we have other things that can hit tanks besides bullets, maybe it's good that you had to keep it simple and just have tank hit without the bullet string in there, like ID of the hit,
Yeah.
ID
So
of the
just
hitter, right?
target and source. Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm Yeah. Okay. And I think if we extend this a little further, like wall destroy is just going to be a wall sent to DID. It could also have a bullet if we wanted to make it directional. It's like wall hit.
yeah,
So this feels like we can work with that. Okay.
yeah. And then I think the other thing that we have to deal
Weird
with,
format. I like it.
I think the other thing that we have to deal with is maybe up front we just don't. If we mispredict a particle emitter, we don't care. You see the explosion, but it didn't actually mean anything,
Yep.
right? Does that seem reasonable?
Right. So we will, and that happens right now too, because I've seen your tank disappear in death, and then reappear.
Right.
So we're mispredicting a lot of things right now, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay. We have
And
we have a bigger problem to solve to fix that.
we've already kind of made this assumption, but just to call it out, like another that we could have handled this is that we don't actually play side effect event. We don't actually handle side effect events until we do the authoritative sim. The problem though is that you're going to see your bullet materialize, but the particle emitter won't show up until the server confirms the shot, right? Which I think would feel pretty bad, right?
Oh, that would be terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do want to predict.
Yeah,
emitters,
I don't
right?
want any of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Glad we agree about that. Just wanted to call that out as one of our assumptions.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could. I mean, maybe we could make the non-deduplication version of this by only watching the server state messages come in, but I think it would feel awful.
It would feel bad. I agree.
Deduplicating is part of deduplicating is part of what makes it actually good. So
Yeah.
okay. So let's see. So I guess in client sim, I'm trying to think where all these things bubble up to. A frame event actually occurs within simulate. I guess frame events just get passed through and then like tossed out. That's a little rough.
That's right. They just get passed in, and then
Yeah.
I think the assumption right now is that everything that's consuming frame events is inside of simulate right now. But if that is wrong, we need to come up with. I mean, the other thing we could do is make it inside of simulate.
That's what I was thinking. It just goes in here.
It goes at the very end, right?
Yeah, very, very end actually. Yep. Particles.
And then it only happens if the simulation phase is a particular value, right? Well, we don't do it if you're on the server, right?
Oh, right. Do we have what's our check for that?
See that SimState has a phase property on it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Huh.
Can you remind me what the enum is?
Yeah.
There's like a set of values in there, and there's probably only a subset of those that we actually care about.
Mm, do we know when we're in reproduction? If we only do it on authoritative and prediction, does that solve some of our problems?
That's pretty good. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a real nice perk from last time.
So client reprediction. We might need to do it in client reprediction.
Okay.
Well, let's try to think of some edge cases here, right? Where you would need it in client reprediction is if it wouldn't be for shooting things, because if for shooting, you would have shot it during the initial prediction phase.
It would be if you repredicted a hit, though.
Yes, that's exactly right. So if you didn't initially predict a hit, but then you repredicted the hit.
Okay, then let's make it work for that. Okay. So the only thing we're not doing this on is server check.
Yes.
Totally reasonable. Okay, so we've got our particle system.
Hey, Dom.
Yeah.
Just if we go back to the code that we just wrote.
Yeah.
What we're really saying here is we don't want this to happen on the server.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's okay to do... Would you rather have an authoritative I'm on the server flag in the game state, or is this enough for you?
I think I'm pretty comfy with this, because I like thinking of it as just a different simulation phase.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. This isn't... That doesn't feel weird to me to have that in there like that.
Because the server... The other thing we could do is have the server do particles, but it just wouldn't call anything. You wouldn't actually have... You'd have like essentially a mock particle interface.
Mm-hmm. True.
And then we wouldn't even need this if statement there at all, right?
I was going to say, this is literally the only time we've ever even used server tick for something, because right now it's just passed in as the authoritative I'm on the server flag.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been included in the code yet.
Okay.
But I see what you're saying, which is like if the server would keep a fake particle system around. Yeah. I mean, it would go to the renderer, which doesn't do anything.
So I think what that's actually kind of leading me to think is that contra what I said before, maybe this is the wrong place to do particles.
Okay.
What would it take for us to... Well, okay, if we go back to client sim, if simulate's the wrong place to do particles, then every time we called simulate, we would have to call a like handle visual side effects function that took that, rather than passing an array there on line 362. What we would do is above that, we would say frame events equals empty array. Pass in frame events so that we'd have a reference to it outside of simulate, and then pass it into like a handle visual side effects function, and then we'd have to call that for every single simulate call.
Now, do we need to do it for every simulate call, or can we just feed every frame event in and handle it once at the end?
Good question.
Right now, frame events they don't actually come in with their frame info, but they certainly could. In fact, I got an idea.
Well, frame events could be tagged by the frame number. Right?
As I say, frame events are this, which is a key string to frame events array.
Or Here'd be something that's a little bit less typing. Would be a record whose template parameters are string and a set of frame events or something like that.
Sorry, the what? What is a record?
Record is exactly what you just wrote, but it's just faster. And then do a template open, and then string is the key value. It's always string, and then frame event.
Yeah.
Array. Yeah.
Is this R type?
Record comes with Typescript.
Wait, so I could have not been writing key string colon
Correct.
whatever this whole time. God
Correct.
damn it. I'm gonna swap over to a TypeScript joke. My friend,
I can't wait.
My friend runs a fake conference
Okay.
called Sigbovic. He also ran for president this year. He's a good guy.
Okay.
But they added a new type to TypeScript, which allows computation in types.
Oh my god.
And I think they all the way down here they're like, you can get your missing dependencies in here by just injecting it in your generic.
Oh my god. Wait, is this the April Fool's joke that he submitted, or did he actually implement this?
Well, I think they actually implemented it. The fake conference they run called Sigbovic is notorious for actually doing the things that they're joking about.
Yeah, I love it.
And it always goes very, very well. Yeah, there's a whole guys, this is like 2-hour talk. Oh, thank God, it's a 5-minute talk on adding this to TypeScript with a real pull request.
I think there was an April Fool's joke today in the Ruby community where they added vertical assignment. I don't know if you know, but like the newest versions of Ruby have rightward assignment. I don't know what it's the turbo fish.
Oh no.
This is just dumb. Yeah, I don't know why. But that's a real thing. So somebody made vertical assignment.
What's bad is that
it's actually in the Ruby like community message board.
Oh no. Okay.
It's not stack.
April Fools, yeah. 2021, maybe this will do it. Ruby? Nope. I've poisoned my internet search history by just going down this way.
But the idea was that like you could add carets on the line underneath an expression, and then add space and the name of the variable that you want to assign the value of that expression to. So what you could do it for is like something like, you know how C has that terrible pattern where you do an assignment in an if block or in the if condition.
Oh,
and then you use the value of that assignment in the block itself.
You say terrible, but I really love that.
Some languages don't even let you do assignment anymore, right? You can't even do assignment in conditions. But
Yep.
The proposal is that you would do that, but then underneath your condition, you do like all the little like caret signs, and then do space and the name of the variable you want to assign that expression to, and then you can use the expression inside the block.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. And did they actually implement it?
So I think they might have actually implemented it. Yeah.
Great. Okay, here you go. They have an entire type track this year. If it type checks, it works.
Wow. This is the nerdiest thing I've ever seen. These people are all geniuses too, right? They have nothing better to do than like do these pranks that are like incredibly clever.
This is the CMU, Carnegie Mellon Computer Science PhD writes an entire fake conference every year. Nerdery.
I just read a blog post about the 1990 winner of the international.
It's the whole paper.
Nice.
All right, sorry. About the 1999
international obfuscated C contest.
Oh man, that shit is cool.
And the winner wrote like essentially like a dialogue. 1990. So this is like before C was even standardized. And it's called Char. I don't remember
Mm,
who the person's. I don't remember what the person's name was, but maybe it's cmills.c. Try going to that one. No, it's not this one. Scroll
these
down a little
fucking
bit.
things. Yeah.
I think this person won. I like Wesley. Wesley.c.
Okay, Wesley. That's. Oh no.
Yeah, so he wrote a whole like you can actually read the code as if it is
Oh no.
as if it is like a little dialogue between two fictitious people, Charlie and Charlotte. And when you run the code, when you run the actual code,
Uh-huh.
it simulates like the she loves me not, like pulling petals off a flower thing.
No
But
way.
yeah, you can't actually compile it.
So
Unfortunately,
if
it's a little bit too, yeah.
this is really cool.
But like the code basically reads as if it's a dialogue between those two people. So it's
This is so clever. Holy
and
shit. I
and it's
also
not
love go to hell.
yeah, and it's not. It's mostly avoids just adding superfluous strings, right? It's not just like I'm going to add a bunch of string literals. That's the script. You
Mhm.
can kind of like read everything, right?
Wow. These people are also extreme nerds of the coolest variety.
Yeah,
I can't believe this is still happening too. Like how I was gonna say like what do you do now? And the answer is go extremely weird.
yeah.
Damn, dude. I wonder if there's points for aesthetic at this point. There certainly
There
are.
are there are levels of programming where like I look up to some people and feel not ashamed, but I'm like I could never be as good as that person.
Hmm.
I think there are like n levels of that recursively, right? There's people that person looks up to. You know what I mean? I feel like
Hmm.
it's a pretty tall pagoda
What the
of
fuck?
imposter syndrome. You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of these people are really into making shapes with
I'm
their
there
code.
with you.
I'm not necessarily into that, but you know,
It seems, yeah. Yeah. Did you ever have to write a quine?
I've never
Uh,
written a Quine. The idea
Okay.
of it hurts my head.
It's really hard. I had to do it for an assignment once and I couldn't get it to fucking work.
People have
Uh,
written Quines in
but
HTML apparently.
some people just got it. Yeah, I was like, come on.
There's also the multi-quine, which actually goes from one language to the next and completes a circle.
No, that's horrifying. Oh wait, there's probably a good one right here. Nope, that's a real bullshit company.
Yeah.
Multi-quines. No. These things absolutely break my brain. Far more than obfuscated C somehow.
Yeah. I mean,
Ugh.
this is a lot of like string literal printing, granted,
Mhm.
right?
I'm still impressed though. I'm always impressed.
It also weirdly reminds me somewhat of assembly programming and buffer overflows, where you have to just like keep a lot in your head, and you have to know like
Mhm.
what level of meta am I at, you know?
Yeah, was it Ryan who always called that the mental compiler? I feel like
It
I've
was
got a
me.
pretty
That
good
was
map.
me.
That came from you? Oh, he's been calling that his own for quite a while now.
Really,
Oh, Jeff, he stole your moves.
it's fine. That's
Anyway,
because that
yeah,
was how I described evaluating our programming interviews, which maybe have dubious value, but like I said, like ideally what you're trying to evaluate is like watching somebody's mental compiler.
yeah, no. Oh, he cribbed that hard. Yeah, great.
Well,
You
as
left a
long as
mark.
he's not like it's what I like to call the mental compiler, as opposed to
No,
like yeah,
he hasn't like trademarked it. But I
he
bet he
didn't receive
thinks
the Turing
fondly.
Award for coming up with the concept of the mental compiler. He
Well,
didn't
I'm sorry to
write
misattribute
a
it.
five part medium series on interviewing and the mental compiler.
I mean, I haven't checked out his blog in a minute, but he might have. His blog always has interesting content.
Yes. I thought he quit the tech industry altogether, right?
Oh, I hope so. Good for him.
Yeah,
That's a great choice. Everyone should do that eventually.
yeah. At least for a little while.
We're all gonna get there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, take a hermitage break. Write some obfuscated tea in the woods.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
where were we?
cool. Uh, I did a thing and took us on a tangent. Frame events.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the idea. So here, where are we about to do simulate? Here we can say frame events of. Do we know what frame we're in? Oh, I guess we're doing as many messages as we have. Ah, crap. We do multiple frames at a time. That's annoying.
Well, no, we don't. It's this dot simulation frame is what it always is.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, cool. So we just hand down a whole bunch of arrays to each one of these. Seems pretty reasonable.
Yes. I think the answer to this question is yes, but do we, or the answer is no. Do we ever simulate the same frame number multiple times in a single tick?
In a single tick, we absolutely should not.
Right,
in subsequent ticks, yes, but this is going to be
in a single tick. We're always going to do the server authoritative frame,
and
then we'll resim up to the prediction frame, and then we'll do the prediction frame.
Correct.
And we're only going to do each of those once per tick.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So this is going to work. We're not going to clobber anything. That was basically my question.
Yeah, totally. Where's the rest of our?
Yeah, any CUC simulate.
Yeah, I was gonna say syncs. So there's a couple calls to simulate in here, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we need to pass the frame events into some of these
into sync server state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is this the land of pure prediction? Is that what's happening here?
I think this is a prediction frame. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So then sync server state, we'll take our frame events object. Which is our record. So cool.
Yeah, I've started doing that or using maps straight up instead of JavaScript objects, depending on my needs.
That's fair. It's nice that this is easier to find your own place from record to map too. So that's a great use of this. Okay, so here is assimilate. So we're going to do frame events of update.frame. And do that. And then this is going to be frame events of F.
Correct.
What's that? Okay. Cool. What's the problem, TypeScript? Cannot find. Didn't I just import you?
Frame event singular.
Thanks. Brilliant. No hint file helps VS Code. Thanks. Okay, great. So then at the end of game state running frame, here is where we're going to do visual effects.
Correct.
This also feels like the place where we previously did camera shake. I think we ended up with something kind of similar to this.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
This pattern feels familiar somehow.
Probably sound effects will happen here too. So
okay,
all the manner of side effects. Yeah.
Cool, media effects.
Or
sound effects.
Anything that just is non-simulation relevant, which is I actually kind of like doing it here rather than in simulate because it makes simulate purely about like state, right?
I think I really like that. And this frame events object feels like a pretty nice way to get at that. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna log this out real quick and see that we're getting something like kind of
Bunch of empty
reasonable in there.
frames, and then if you shoot something, you'll see stuff.
Yeah,
But you
moving,
can
moving
do
and
frame event
shooting.
sizes. You can log. You can maybe log the sizes of. Can you tell?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
you can
saw
see the you
some
can see
ones.
a couple of ones go by there. I think.
I did, yeah. But I'll do um, object.keys frame events dot length. But yeah, there was some stuff going through, and it's nice because it's. Oh well, actually, it's always going to be two because there's just current frame and predicted frame.
Maybe
But
object.values dot map, and then
oh, that's
x
not
goes to
it.
x dot length or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you see the
Yep.
ones pass through there occasionally. It's just the
Yeah,
shots.
it's a flicker, but it's there. Cool. All right, so yeah, I guess our entire we came up with this with that format, but we don't really need it since we're just actually getting access to the entire frame of. Oh well, no, we need to write a deduplication log for ourselves. Still, we'll still need this. Cool.
The deduplication log maybe can just be a member of the client sim class because you'll need to preserve it from frame to frame.
Ah, yeah. Okay, I was thinking of handing it to the particle system. Um, but that makes sense because we might need it for other things like sound effects.
Oh no, you're right.
Well, it probably six and one half dozen the other because like if we have an audio system, we're gonna have to do the same thing. Like tank shoot has the same problem
Yeah, you're
across.
yeah. I think, and then we need a way of occasionally garbage collecting the deduplication log, right? Somebody needs to know like we can truncate it, right?
Yep. Well, yeah, that should be pretty easy because it's just like drop everything earlier than this frame.
It would be the server authoritative frame that we just processed. We can drop.
Yeah. Yep. Which we
or
totally
actually one
have.
before that, right? Because the current frame
server. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Cool.
The reason why is that the events will contain stuff from the server authoritative frame, which means that we should process. If anything's new in there, we should handle it.
I guess I was thinking that we would handle and then drop everything past that.
Yep.
But once it's handled, we're not going to take it out of particle systems. So, okay, so let's build our deduplication log. So yeah, this probably exists all the way. I mean, this is just a function of the client sim at this point now, huh? Dedup log is, we'll give this a type because we'll probably, gosh, where should something like this even live?
Probably just put it in the client folder for now. I think it's okay. Something that only the client cares about at this point.
Oh, that's a good point. Type
class.
Or
you think it's just going to be a, or do you think it's just going to be plain old data? If so, interface.
That's a good question. Can we get away with just data? I guess, it'd be nice to be able to hand frame events to this thing and just let this class do the work. We'll keep the client sim cleaner. So we're going to store something like this. I'll just close this file and move this over here as a comment. And then we're going to ask.
What do we do? Say we need to ask if it contains this event.
Right. So we're saying if you have, we hand out all these events and we say, tell us what you don't have, so we can feed them to particle and sound and camera. Does that sound sort of right? Well, let's see.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we could do filtering outside of it if as long as this thing just did contains.
okay, yeah,
But
contains frame event.
then we need a separate function that's like add, right? And
Hmm.
chances are the things that we pass to contains and the things that we pass to add are going to be exactly the same, right?
Yes. Which makes me think that actually our frame events will just need more information too, like the well, no, because we actually don't need to know the entity that hits the tank because we know the angle that it comes in at,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. You know what? I actually kind of like this minimal interface. If it ends up being a lot of logic outside of this that we think should go in there, we can add it in there.
Okay, great.
And the frame event doesn't
Uh,
have the frames, so I think both of these interfaces needs to have a frame number as well.
cool. Yep.
And then maybe instead of F, we could use E or event or the word
Yeah,
event or something like that. Yeah.
totally. Cool, cool. And for a data structuring here, I guess we don't. I mean, it could just be another. It's basically another frame event record.
It's a record, although I think the values in this case would be they would likely be just a set of strings.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be log is a record. Or sorry, you're saying it's actually a set, or it's a record of a set of strings.
I think it's this. If you wanted to key by numbers, you could also make it a map rather than a record.
Let's do that. I'm tired of keying by strings.
Yeah, and it'd be like maybe logs by frame is a good word for that.
Yeah, I like it. New map.
New map will do it. You don't. I don't think you need to respecify the type.
Yeah,
Type checker will know.
great. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. So then this is going to be this dot. So actually, we're going to maybe have a private function here that is private frame event to string.
Yeah. And it's going to be a giant switch, right? On all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This does logs dot set number and frame event to string event. And then, yeah, so if, oh no, we can do a switch. Switch event type. Oh, maybe if I imported it, it would know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There we go. Then case of.
Are there going to be event
type.
types that we don't care about? And if so, what do we like? How do we deal with those?
For this log, you mean? We could just drop them. I guess maybe sort of the.
So what if frame event to string returns? Maybe the return value could be string or undefined. And if it's
Yep.
undefined, then add doesn't do anything. And if it's undefined, contains just returns false, right?
I like it. Yeah.
Can we call that
Result.
ID? Maybe that'll.
That's our frame ID essentially,
A frame
or
or
our
event
ID.
ID, or event key.
Yeah, ID is a little too much for me, but
Okay, I see. It's too vague.
Yeah, frame event to key seems good.
Okay.
And this is a string or undefined. Oh man, how? Boy, I'm not used to writing functions this way, am I?
No, you're good. What is it actually complaining about?
Oh,
You're just
probably
not
that I'm not
returning. You're
returning.
not returning anything. Yeah.
I'm not returning a single thing. Yeah.
And then the default can be return undefined or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That should be this. Yeah. Sweet. This dot logs dot set frame number. It's the frame event. Oh, and then this is just event key.
So the value is actually a set. So we actually need to pull the set out of the logs by frame. This is like a double nested container.
Yep, I'm okay with that. And this is one of those. Does get have a okay? It'll return undefined, so we can do get by frame number.
Yeah, this is actually what I really like about maps is that the get function will type checks to returning potentially undefined, which is not true for our key value objects or records, as it were.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. This becomes a let.
And then we need to insert frame set after line 15.
Wait, how do I add to a set?
You're not on the set.
I'm on the wrong. Yeah. I was like, why is add not there?
It's actually, yeah.
Cool.
And then on line 15, after line 15, first of all, you don't need the template specifier. That can go.
For this one? Oh, I guess because it's got a type up here. Yep.
And then after that, we need to add inside the if block. We need to actually add it into this .log by frame. So this .log by frame.
We can't just set it every time. Oh, I guess
it doesn't. It doesn't need to happen every time. It just needs to happen the first time.
Perfect. That does make sense.
I actually like the word logs by frame better. Do you want to do a rename and call it logs plural?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Nice.
It just came out more naturally that way, so love it.
Your fingers are telling the truth. Listen to them, Dom.
Oh boy. Cool. All right, so this is very similar. Frame set, frame number, if frame set, turn false. If frame set, then actually we need a frame set and frame set dot contains has.
You can just return that Boolean. Actually, you could say return frame set not equals undefined, and yeah.
I like that.
Frame key to event can be undefined. Oh yeah, so maybe we actually need to get that first, and if it's undefined, we need to return const key equals that. Yeah.
We'll do this, and we'll do
key not equals,
key not,
And I'll tell you what, you could actually put, I think frame event to key, that can actually be either a static function, or it can actually just be a function above this class that we never export, right? It doesn't need to be part of the class at all.
Doesn't need to be in here. I like that.
I mean, I can keep this class lean and mean.
Woo. That means that all of these thises no longer need to this.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I like to feel that. All right, sick.
And the type checker probably wants you to... Never mind. This is irrelevant, but to add return types to these.
Oh, it sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is going to be a void, and this will be a boolean.
Beautiful.
Cool. Oh, and I guess we'll have a garbage collect down here.
Yeah, some kind of truncation.
That takes a number.
Yeah.
Truncate, that's a good word. Truncate before. Okay, cool. But we'll let this grow indefinitely for now.
Sure.
So we're gonna return the frame event to key probably needs. Oh, no, we don't need the frame number. That's in the map. So what's in our frame events again? We don't. Do we have a? These are numbers, huh? Oh,
Um,
we're in a giant switch statement.
yeah, just so you know, the TypeScript
Mhm.
compiler does create a lookup table for the names. So actually, if you go to the TypeScript playground, you can actually see how it's created.
Oh, that's right. You've done a thing like this before. Is this?
Its frame event
Is it
type
going?
is a lookup table, and you just pass it. You can just pass it event.type
Tank. Yeah.
if you don't want to
Oh,
type it
well,
again.
that
Yeah,
does make sense.
yeah.
Cool.
Uh,
Okay, sweet.
and then this is a pure style thing.
Mhm.
But rather than return at the bottom on line 10, what if we made a default that returned undefined explicitly? And that made it that makes it so that like we're acknowledging that there is a catch-all there.
Yep, into it.
Yeah,
Cool.
awesome. Then line 7 you don't need.
True. All right. That looks like a nice little utility class.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do with this? We've got our frame events. So at some point we actually have to add these to the dedup log. Oh, did I even instantiate this? Probably not. Nope. Let's get that out of the way. So I guess we just loop over all frame events here. We add them to the. I guess is the algorithm for each frame event per frame. We're going to see if it's in the log. If it's not, do a side effect.
And add it to the log. Yep.
Yeah.
And add it to the log. Yep.
I was gonna say just at the end, like add
Add it
everything to the log.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
But yeah, add it to the log. Why not? That is.
Yeah, I doubt that there's going to be so many of these that adding it will be prohibitively expensive.
Nope.
Although we are doing replay, right? We do have a resim thing going on here, so we're going to have multiple copies of the same event.
Yeah, but we'll be stopping right here at see if it's in the log. Like we'll never. We're not going to add something like 10 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that seems legit. So let's see. So we've got for const index of frame events, and this is actually going to be object.keys frame events, huh? That's a record.
Yeah. You can also do const index in object.keys. That's or const index in and then take out object.keys, and that'll iterate over the keys of frame events.
Will that actually do what I want it to? Great. Cool. And then what is inside this? Just an array. Yeah.
And I think we're basically guaranteed that it's going to go in order added. The JavaScript standard doesn't guarantee that, but I think in practice most implementation, or at least V8, does guarantee that it's going to be in order.
Yeah, it goes out of its way to not guarantee that it will actually do that for you, but we're gonna.
Yeah. And then,
or rather, yeah.
And then on line, the line above the console.log, that needs to be of and not in, because we're going over values, not keys.
That's what
that looks beautiful.
Of is over values. I gotta remember this somehow.
It's not a great API, so don't.
No.
If you look at the way I think more modern languages deal with it, they like basic on iteration like this, they always give you both the key and the value at the same time, and you can tell it whether or not you want it or not. But
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so this is cool actually. So I get two tank move events and two hit events. I guess I can not have hit events if I shoot off into the void.
Yeah.
Cool. Neat. And it's two because we're doing like single frame resimulation at our tight local client. All right.
That's right. I had to
Yeah.
think about that for a second.
Uh, yeah, we have like a one frame loop. I wonder, can I turn that up? It's probably not super useful. Well, let's add it to the log. We'll do this, and then we'll get particle emitters, and then everything will just magically work.
And the
So
index is actually, on line 387, index is actually the frame number, right? Can we call it that?
oh, it totally is. Yeah, great point.
Oh, and these are strings. That's the problem.
You want them? This could become a record or a map. You want it to be a map? I'll make it a map.
Yeah, let's do a map. Maps are good.
It ain't bad. Yeah, type map is not. The type map is definitely generic. Do you think this is a
are we
map?
import? Oh, fuck me.
Fuck.
Okay, we need to rename our other map. That was a
Yeah,
bad
yeah. Well,
call
okay.
on our part.
Well, that's okay. Mistakes were made. I'm going to rename symbol up here
Game map.
as game map. Yeah. What did I just do? Game map. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what I did was call it map as game map. That's not right. Okay.
There's a lot of in some of the code that I just read. There's a lot of as unknown as t, because like TypeScript wants you to go to unknown first before you go to something else.
I saw some of that and I was like, what is happening? I assume, is that because of all the JSON we're going through?
It's for two reasons. One of it is JSON. The other is that you know how TypeScript allows you to do what's called a mapped type, where a mapped type means that you can have a record that has a bunch of heterogeneous properties, like it has a number, an array, and a class instance or something like that, right? You can actually map that object into, like, that's just how immutable works, right? Immutable says, like, I'm going to actually map each one of those types into a read-only version of that type. So that's all well and good in type checker land, because that's declarative. You can just say, like, this type is the same as this other type, except we're going to use this type modifier for every single subproperty, right? That's what a mapped type is. The problem with that is that when you actually try to write code that converts an object of one type to another, you have to do it iteratively and not declaratively. So you literally have to write a loop. And as far as I know, the type checker has no way of knowing, while you're iterating over individual objects of that loop, whether you're on property A versus property B, and therefore what values they each have. And so you have to basically say, like, hey, look, just trust me. And the way that you do that,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
Let's see.
TypeScript's
So
good though.
is
It's got the most satisfying type system I've used so far. If only the runtime knew about it, it would be even better.
Yeah, I want just the only thing I want is the not value types everywhere. Our little ID hack could be so much nicer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's type any of because this is okay. Great. Oh, how do I loop through this?
It is a
cool.
It is, well, that is actually a tuple of the frame number and the events. Yeah, there you go.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
And then, yeah.
That's much better. Maps are great.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. I was wrong about maps. Maps are always the answer. Okay. Const next frame event.
Did it not like the fact that, does it not like line 439?
430. I mean, this is not an accessor for a map.
Oh, of course. Got it.
Yeah, and doing a get makes it possibly undefined, which is a little annoying.
Yeah, I see.
But that's okay. We just gotta give it a local.
Consequences. Unintended
I'm sure at some
consequences.
point, yeah, we'll clean this up maybe.
Yeah. It's not the worst thing in the world.
It doesn't really bother me now because like
The complexity is pretty
every one of these
inherent
very
in the fact that we decided to make a multiplayer game. That was
yes.
mistake number one.
Yeah, and whatever. Every one of these is local to a loop, so
Yeah.
not gonna fret. Okay, let's see.
I'll tell you
should
what,
do something.
one thing I've been pleasantly surprised by is that the programming of this game has been largely very pleasant.
I know, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's weird.
I've had much more frustrating programming experiences, just sort of like in all facets of programming. This is a joy. It's you can refactor the thing we want to refactor instead of like having your boss tell you can't do it.
Right.
Turns out that buys a lot of
there's a
happiness.
lot of value in writing all of the code yourself, right? I mean, it's just not a scalable solution whatsoever, but like we can be not invented here. It's pretty luxurious sometimes.
Yep. Deduplog.add frame number and event.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to do something. Constant.log already added for frame. I want to see this alternate since we have like a nice clean to event thing.
Yeah.
Nope. Everything is already added. Well, that's annoying. Why is that? How is that possible?
I guess we need to debug our dedup log.
I guess so. Oh, right. Contains is coming back true every time. Constant.log frame number. Let's see, we have frame number, we've got our frame set, and we've got our event key. It could very well be this chunk down here that I just got wrong, but let's see. 85 tank shoot undefined. 85. Oh well, nothing's getting added, so I think it contains. Oh, frame set not equals undefined.
Can you show me the code that uses this again?
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Well, we should at least see adding, shouldn't we?
We were checking for containment before we added,
yes.
so
Okay.
yeah. Yep, that worked.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Another way to do that one is to, if it does contain it, you can continue, and then.
I like it. Yep. Now here's what's interesting. We already added for the frame, but the hit gets added twice. So let me do your continue trick because I do like that.
The hit gets added twice.
The hit it is right now at least. Let's see what we got.
It's so funny. You and I have a very similar paragraphing instinct when we write our code. I think we tend to add new lines
in terms of like where to put the line break?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people just don't do that, and they're monsters. I don't get it.
I think actually that's the secret to our ability to work together is exactly this one thing.
I'm never annoyed at the code you write. Yeah, that is true.
I think I have occasionally added code after a closing curly brace without a new line, but I don't remember what that logic was.
Yeah, but if you did, it probably felt right. It was probably the right time to do that.
I think it was
I'm
that
going to choose
like
to believe that.
I was like in enough, like the function was long enough that there were like little chunks of other code that were like thematically similar, and I wanted to join together two things that are like thematically similar or something crazily neurotic like that.
Ah, oh, well, okay. It's because it's a hit event that is undefined, so we don't do shit.
Oh, perfect.
That seems
That
correct, I
that seems
guess.
totally reasonable.
So I have a thought for a default, which is actually this. Because like while we may not care, I do kind of want the dedupe log to like do its best. Well, I guess this would be really evident to us if we were like trying to track something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree. I'd rather have it. I feel like the undefined is like failing catastrophically, whereas like having a default could cause some weird subtle things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great, 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 great. Maybe what we'll be checking actually then
Or
is
what we
if
could do
yeah.
is, if you really wanted to be clear about it, we could have the default case throw, and then actually add
Ooh.
explicit undefines for every event that we didn't care about. Does
I
that make
actually
does
I
that make
actually like
sense? Okay. Okay.
yeah I like throw don't not tracking as event type.
Well, every event type's going to come through here, right? Because we're iterating over it blindly here. It's not that we didn't track it; it's that we forgot to implement it, right? We forgot to implement.
Oh, sorry, right? Because we want to be able to check contains. That's fair. Let's keep explicit undefined then, because I think what I'm
Okay.
actually about to do is if we're going to do another switch on the event type here.
Yeah. This feels good, by the way. I was very nervous about this, but in the one example that we have so far, it seems like a workable solution.
Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. All right, that tank shoot. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, maybe we do add it every time. Who cares? If we're not watching it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that up there. Okay. Um, Now we emit a particle.
Great.
I guess that's that. Yeah.
The client sim doesn't have a particle emitter yet. It doesn't have a particle system. Um,
That is we had nothing.
we're threadbare, impoverished.
Whew. Okay, so I guess yeah, we can just instantiate one of these suckers, right?
Yeah.
I think we
And
hand
just
it
make
the
that part of the.
renderer.
Yes, and then I think the renderer also needs to add that mesh. Where are we adding meshes again? Do we do like a model load somewhere?
But that's a great question. Yeah, I think you're right.
Got to dig this back
Also,
and
is this just always talking? Oh, init render. There we go. Yeah, something that's about this. Do we need a mesh name? Because don't we just load this straight up?
it's a mesh name because the renderer itself theoretically can have different particle meshes. And it's
Okay, okay.
not only that, but theoretically you could initialize it with a different number of instances as well.
For
I
sure.
don't know why you'd ever use the same mesh and different number of instances, but like yeah.
Well, to throw it out there, I think we're good because part of this system is actually loading the
Oh,
particle mesh and doing it.
dang.
We do all the work. Yeah, yeah.
Uh
Init render just sets us up, so that's cool.
okay, yes.
I feel great with that.
Eventually.
Eventually, we should just point to a mesh that we know about, but not yet. I think it's because we're still dependent on this buffer data that we actually want to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you might be right. Particle meshes are special in that the only attributes you care about are positions, whereas like other meshes might
Mhm.
have other crap. But you're right. Like maybe that's why the dog exercise would be fun. Is it would like help you really refine the API at this level, right? Like what API would make
Yeah,
sense if you wanted to make a particle emitter out of dogs.
right. And
Shiba
it's not
Inu's
like this is
specifically.
actually. Oh, there's only one kind of dog in this universe. All their dogs are good boys, but also extinct. Shiba's only.
Oh, you know why the Shiba won't
Utopia.
work? The Shiba is nested. It actually is a ton of meshes, right? It's like
I
it's
mean,
a
it's a
tree.
lot of meshes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Although
Oh,
we could
because we would
export
have
it to
to.
a flat thing, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. That is an option. I'm actually more excited about doing particles that are like quads but transparent. Like I want some floating Ghost of Tsushima leaves like billowing through here, and that's like a
Textures.
texture on an
Yeah,
alpha.
textures would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
really nice.
I think that actually elevates particles to the next level in a way that
I
I don't
agree.
actually care about getting dog particles. It's
Yeah,
cool, but
you could have
it's not
normals.
gonna. No,
You could have normals on the textures as they have normal maps on the particles as well.
oh, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, our particles. Well, that's a can of worms for this stream, but our particles do should respect lighting eventually.
Our particles should not only respect
I
lighting but
should be.
also generate light. What do you think about that?
Can we do that? Can JavaScript handle that? Are we gonna break this shit? We should
Uh,
try.
I'm trying to think about how we would do the right way to do lighting, but right now we do lights as uniforms, right? Like that, like there's just like one light,
Hmm.
and it is what do we do? We do
Oh, but
diffuse lighting, right? With a direction,
yeah, but every emitter could actually be a light source of a certain degree, is what you're saying.
and then the shader would basically. I think similar to the way that we handle particles, we need to know we need to like let the shader like cut off when we don't have 15 lights, but like you could have like up to like n number of lights in a scene. This seems like
Well,
graphics talk, right? It seems like people talk about how many lights they can handle in one scene. Like I feel like there's
oh
different graphics
yeah.
engines that say like we can handle this number of lights, right?
Well, isn't half of it like figuring out what lights to pre-bake so you don't have to actually have lights in a scene, but you have fake lights in a scene that you placed
In the
previously or
environment,
something?
yeah,
Yeah,
you can do that too.
yeah.
But
Or like you load the map and the lights get baked in like once for static stuff. Yeah,
yeah, I think in our
neat.
case with something like an emitter, you'd want dynamic lighting, right? You'd want to be able to like arbitrarily position a light.
Oh, damn right I do.
Yeah, and what that would involve is updating some uniform or some texture that represents all of the lights in a scene, and like every shader that cared about lighting would have to take that same uniform or take that same texture. I love
Yeah,
it. We now have a particle system.
we're doing it. I think we did a very good job of architecting the particle system to just show up over here.
Just
Okay,
call it
mesh name
default.
is
Yeah,
particle.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll say we got room for 10 grand. Big 10K. Wow. Okay. So particle. Let's see. Renderer. Oh, do we not even touch that here? Okay. We need our 3D renderer.
Actually, the
That might need
client
to be the
has the
level up.
renderer, and I wonder if the
Yeah,
client is where the particle system should be.
I think it has to be. Yeah.
What is the render
Okay.
manager? I forgot what that class even is.
Render. I think was this so that you could sort of have a 2D and a 3D at the same time? Yeah. There
Oh,
you
this
go.
is where all the rendering shit lives. Maybe the particle system lives here. I don't really care. I don't think it should live in client sim. Now that I think about it, um,
So, you don't think it should live in client sim? I guess the my pitch against that would be that client sim is sort of like the particle system needs to know about events, but maybe really we just need to
I
know
know what you're
about
saying.
when to add emitters to the particle system. So client, you got me. I think putting in client is workable.
I think I agree with you. Right now, the particle system has a render function on it. Am I correct in saying that?
It does, which I think um,
And
do
so
we
this
have
is the
draw frame
reason
or
why I
something?
want to put it in
Yeah.
either the client or
Yep.
the client render manager. But you're right to say that like the client, like something needs to know how to add emitters to that. And so the client is probably going to have to inject an add function into the client sim, or
Hmm.
client sim needs to bubble those events up to the client. One of those two.
Yep. Yep. But I'm totally cool with that.
I have no strong opinion about which of those. I don't have any strong
So let's
opinions
see.
at all.
Jeff, I don't believe you. Client render manager takes. Okay, so can we get render manager dot render 3? Perfect. Nice. Cool. And then we're right here for sim to take our add emitter of this dot particle system dot add. Cute.
You might have to bind that.
Oh shit. Yeah, is that a dot bind this?
This dot particle
What?
system.
Whoa. All right.
Does that not work?
Real talk. I have no idea what dot bind does in JavaScript.
So I don't love dot bind, but what dot bind does is it creates a function that sets the this to the thing that you just pass into it. What I think is a better way of doing this is to just create a closure here.
Yeah, but do we need a this, because this function doesn't actually need to know about the this for this, because it's going straight into particle system. Like if we wanted, let's see. I think I understand that chunk of it. If we had a function that was like const foo equals console.log this dot render manager, this we have to bind. Like we have to do this dot. We have to do foo dot bind this, right?
You wouldn't have to, because the closure syntax parentheses equals greater than it creates this binding for you. That's actually a difference between that and creating an anonymous function using the word function keyword.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I think what I was going to argue for is, like, here you could just add emitter and then just do parentheses, and then you would take config, and then just pass that into add. Yeah, and this is the same thing as doing the bind there, but it's a little bit like you don't have to think about what bind does. Bind essentially does exactly this. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Sweet. And then in client sim, we're just going to need our add emitter. That is a function takes config emitter, or particle config.
I think it's called basic emitter config. I think that's what.
It looks like this took something called particle config.
Oh, you know what?
I think basic emitter config is a particle.
We don't want add particle. We want add emitter, don't we?
Oh, great point. This is yep.
And emitter is nice because it's just an interface. It's just
I love it. Emitter, sweet, cool. And then this also becomes emitter.
And add emitter is the function call.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Delightful. Whew, indeed. Okay. Render is defined. Nope, don't want that.
Don't you love it when you get a bunch of AWS crap in a non-AWS file? Because I added the AWS SDK for that thing. It's going to be the
Is that what it? Oh, gosh.
Yeah. There are these fancy... have you heard of Lerna? There are like these fancy JavaScript monorepo management tools so that you can have like multiple package.json files and that sort of thing.
Oh, interesting.
But
I'm not going to fuck with that. Is it Lerna?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen this go by, but I haven't actually looked at it. Oh
Oh,
boy. Okay. This particle system dot add emitter. All right. I see no errors. I think the game is actually running. Oops.
nice. We didn't break
Okay.
it.
We haven't broken it yet, which means
Okay.
that in our traditional manner at 15 minutes before, we're gonna do the thing and it's gonna
We're gonna
work
do the
perfectly because it's
actual thing that
TypeScript.
we set out to do. It is kind of amazing that everything we do is no more ambitious than what can be accomplished in 2 hours and change.
About 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Uh, are we the programmers that are actually like kind of okay at estimating things?
I'm terrible at estimating
Is that
things.
but we estimate things for 2 hours so effectively.
It's true.
Uh, what is holding on to this variable? It's in some.
It got passed in the constructor.
Oh
We
gosh.
probably need to
Oh,
add it
it's
locally.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This dot add emitter equals config dot add emitter. Okay, I can accept that. And then add emitter is a emitter void function. This is a. Okay, doing good.
Yeah, this is nice. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. This slotted in really well, and I feel pretty good about the way these are getting deduplicated. Let's see if it works. Oh shit. Okay, now we need to make an emitter.
Oh yeah.
New basic emitter with default basic emitter config.
It's a function call now. I made it a function call so that
Fun.
because like the emitter needs to fully own the entire nested tree of objects. So the function
Okay.
call like creates new ones every time. We're not updating the emitter at the level of the
We're
client.
not.
Yeah.
We're not even rendering it. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be this dot particle system dot update. That does it,
Yeah,
right?
I
That's
think
it.
you might want to put it under. See where render manager gets updated? I would throw it up above line
Uh, ah,
106.
okay.
Well, actually, I would
Above
do it after that. We want to do the particles after everything, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This takes a DT. Do we have an frame
Just
time in
do
here?
simulation. It's all caps.
Okay,
Simulation period S. Yeah. We'll figure out
cool.
what to do
Oh,
there.
because we're on the renderer, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Great point. Okay.
Uh, can you scoot near the origin? We didn't actually set the.
Oh, that's for sure. Where is the origin on this damn map?
I don't know.
Okay.
Should we go to
Let's
small
let's
map?
set our position.
Okay.
I no. Let's be lazy.
Okay.
Emitter dot. No, crud. Config. Emitter config. This is important anyway. It has to get attached to the thing. Emitter config dot. How did I get that?
Default basic emitter config. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Origin equals. And this is this dot entity manager dot transform of
I think we
event
should try
dot
to put
entity
that
ID
value into the event. What do you think?
into the event.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I feel very good about that.
Oh, we could continue to do what you're doing right now. Maybe that's fine.
I feel good about that. Not in 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
um, yeah, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I think that's actually much better because then this data is just passes through and it's done.
Let's just do an exclamation point there. Ride or die.
Yep. What you unhappy about?
It's a vec2. Oh,
Oh,
we need to translate into three
so
space.
that's correct. We can do that.
Yeah, we could do that. Child's play. I would assign the
Okay.
transform
Yeah.
value to. Yeah. I
Yep,
think eventually
yep.
we're gonna just have to change the whole 2D simulation to 3D. I feel it coming.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad. I don't know, 0, 1,
The
0.5.
Z.
What
Well, the
are
Z
we in?
value is north south, so it's actually the Y value that we
Oh,
have to guess on.
right. I'll just put 0.5 in there. Let's see what we
Okay,
get.
that is reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still not drawing, huh?
Still not drawing.
Okay.
That's tough because this emitter should.
Can we can do some debugging?
Yeah.
Don't you love
Yeah,
debugging?
I do. Let me take some of these console logs out of here. Is this in our
I'm
dedup
into it.
log? Oh, and by debugging you mean debug mode.
I meant I meant
I love it.
yes.
Okay.
Breakpoint
Yeah, you
debugging.
want to right about here?
Where we could put it is in the particle system simulation.
Sure.
And then
Okay. Wait, real quick. We do update here. Do we do a render? We do a init render. We actually don't call this function.
Oh, and the other thing is that the default particle emitter, the TTL, is infinite. So you're just going to create a billion infinite until you run out of particles.
Well, that's what was kind of.
And our system
That's what was
actually
messing me up
hard
is that.
crashes currently. It should
Oh
probably not
no.
hard crash.
Probably not. But it's not going to run out of particles. Well, I mean, until we make a million of these. But
Yeah.
So, what calls this? Is there no more render function? Is it render manager update? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It totally does.
This is okay. We're gonna get away with this. Because let's just call this render and then this dot render manager dot render 3D.
Yep. I think that's fine.
Probably a critical piece of this puzzle.
Oh my god. It's gonna crash. It's gonna crash anytime now.
Eventually, yeah. It shouldn't crash now because
because the TTL, the particles have TTL.
do expire. Like we take care of them.
Is it getting really slow?
Yeah, the particles die. I could create. No, it's buttery smooth.
Okay, sorry. It was just
my update
Zoom.
FPS is still a
kind of
crisp
choked
60.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Look upon you particles in despair because this dog is spitting. Yeah, no.
I
Totally,
can't tell you how
totally
excited
chill.
I am about this. This is really exciting.
It's really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's make this a more useful particle emitter.
Okay.
Yeah, and you probably noticed that I committed my fire emitter just because I was I wanted a working reference for this thing. I was actually thinking that we could load these up via the JSON config because then we can kind of do on game load and have all our stuff in a workable format for the toy as well.
JSON, unfortunately, needs a little bit of massaging before it can be used directly as the config because we need float 32 arrays where there are objects currently.
Oh yeah, but we already wrote that code, right?
We do have a utility function.
I was thinking of it I was thinking we do it like model load, where at the beginning we load up a bunch of emitter config once.
Yeah, you're speaking my language here.
Yeah. No, we can't parse JSON on the fly in our game. Browsers can't do so much. Or can't do that much for us. Emitter TTL, is this in seconds?
It is in seconds, yes.
Okay. So short little bitty.
Look at that. So cute.
These look great.
Yeah.
Cool. And I also think that the orientation
oh boy, this is
needs to match it. Yeah. So all right. So how we need to do a quat from our, you know what, here, I'm gonna pop this back a second because I actually want this transform.
It's going to be a from axis angle. Set axis angle, I'm sorry. It's called set axis angle. And then the first thing is a quat.create. Second thing is a vec3, which we'll get to in a vec3 is going to be, actually the vec3 is always going to be the same. The vec3 is going to be type in plus y3. It's actually a constant. You can actually pass in a constant. I made one. Capital P. You don't have to even do the vec3.from values. It's just a, yeah, that plus y3
okay, great.
just exists.
Huh.
And what plus y3 is...
What did you put over here? Oh, cool. It's cute.
It's the vector pointing directly up from the surface of the ground. Does that make sense? And then so we want to rotate around that by essentially the orientation of the shooter.
Yeah, because this is in radians, which
yeah,
we are about to find out. What's unhappy here?
We need to. I think we need to add a type definition for this. Is good if you go to
for set axis angle.
Yeah. It's GL matrix types, something like that. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Under quat, the quat namespace. Does that exist yet? No, it doesn't.
I thought it did.
I thought it did too. It's alphabetized.
Yeah, let me just do it quick because I feel like I've actually run into this already, but maybe not.
It doesn't exist.
Cool, and then it's so this
export
is
function set axis angle, out, which is a
quat,
and then axis, which is an immutable vec3,
b, which is a number,
and then it returns. It also has a return value of a quat, I believe.
Oh, cool. Yep.
And just because those are going to pop up in tooltips, can we label those arguments as
Oh, absolutely.
Axis and rad.
Well, part of axis and rad. Yeah, you got it. Axis and rad. Sweet. Sometimes I send this GIF instead of saying that's rad. I want the GIF. Yeah. There you go.
I kind of want to. I kind of want to steal your Yakuza GIF archive, but I feel like it's kind of your thing. You've
No, please. It's just so GIFable.
When we become when we convert from streamers to YouTubers, if it ever happens.
Yeah. If it ever happens.
Apparently the technique to do is to just create an archive of different just essentially B-roll, but you make a database of it so that when you mention someone's fist closing, you can cut to Thanos closing his fist or something like that. You just have a bunch of stuff.
That's clever. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think our orientation is the body orientation and not the head orientation. Is that correct?
I was gonna say this actually needs to be the shooter orientation. So const shooter equals this dot entity manager dot shooters dot get event. Well, yeah, we're gonna put this all in the event. I am 100% convinced right now. Okay. Because this is annoying.
The event might already have an orientation, but don't worry about it.
Oh. I don't know. I like what you're. Oh, come on. Right, because it needs to apply reverse. We apply reverse.
We might need to negate it going into 3 space. So I have a prediction that this is going to go backwards.
So I didn't expect it to be off by a quarter. I'll negate it. Yeah.
Yeah, can you take a look at render manager, I want to say? We do something with our 2D orientations.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, is it possible that our emitter is actually going sideways based on the orientation as well.
There's a lot.
What just I broke it. Wait, hang
Command Shift R. Oh, dude.
on. I mean, what happened? Is everything is a particle now?
Oh gosh, this
What,
is
I
a
don't know what's going on up here.
very unusual
Yeah,
bug.
yeah. Let me screenshot this because I'm not sure we'll be able to reproduce this easily.
I don't even know
It,
how this would have happened.
it's cool that it's still. Oh wow. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I got questions. I'm gonna kill the server real quick.
All right,
Something got cursed. Moon's haunted.
and it's fine. No way.
Okay.
So what you said is
Okay, so
potentially an issue, but there's a lot of different things going around here for us to unpack.
yeah,
So if you go to
yeah.
the render manager, what do we do with
Mhm.
orientations? Oh, you know what? This might be in get renderables
Okay.
in the client sim, maybe one of those two.
Client sim, yeah.
So
Yeah, what you're talking about sounds familiar, and was it this bullshit?
it what's the
That looks
rotation that
pretty.
we do here? Oh, we do model modifiers, right? And that's what actually generates the rotation.
Oh.
So
But the shooter orientation, I feel like should be sort of a
yeah,
pure.
can we take a look at the shooter implementation?
Yeah, totally. Wait, real quick too. Let me just do the where's the default basic emitter? Yeah, I mean, okay, that's
It's neutral,
shouldn't be
yeah.
anything. Yeah, yep, yep. Okay.
I mean, we're on the right axis, which is nice, right? Like that could have been the first disaster. It does look like it's rotating around the positive y-axis, right?
It sure does, yeah.
It just that was what I expected to happen, to fire in the opposite direction.
Okay. Well, so it opposite, not opposite, not opposite, opposite. Um,
What? Come on, Tom.
um, so why is it sort of I guess we've seen this. It's right. It's sort of it's moving in opposition, but on the X we're
Where
aligned.
do we set the
Okay.
model modifiers
It's not
for uh, the head, for example?
I think yeah, right. That should be in the
Yeah, that's here.
shooter system. Yeah.
Uh,
Ah, we need well,
yeah. What if we negated it? What if we just straight up just did negative?
oh yeah. I thought I just tried that. Let's see.
Yeah, that one. Okay, now
Yeah, now
it's
it's fully backwards. So is it possible that our emitter shoots backwards? That I would actually believe. Um,
so yeah, there's a lot going on here, right? So first of all,
mhm.
our 2D rotation is a our 2D rotation is a left-handed rotation around y the 3D y-axis. We just expressed it in a
Mhm.
weird way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, try that. And
I assume this is what
we
fixes it,
considered
but
north to be 0. Yeah, that fixed it.
right.
Yeah, that
Cool.
makes
I mean, it's pretty neat.
um yeah. I think what we're dealing with here is that there's a number of local spaces that don't agree with each other. It would
I
be
think
as
you're
if
right.
we
Yeah,
exported a model facing the wrong direction. Remember we did that a couple times with the tank, right?
correct.
That I think
Yeah,
we have the
yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
type of thing going on here.
Yep. Yeah, that feels very familiar.
If you look at Particle
Okay,
Toy,
well, yeah.
just Particle Toy assumes that the default rotation is towards plus z, and plus
Mhm.
z faces downward in the game, right? That's south in the game. But all of our
Oh gosh, so
orientations are north facing, I think, in the 2D
right,
simulation of the game.
right. So we've reoriented around that, and it actually is like
So
it's as if it's flipped it basically.
the math that you wrote actually makes sense based on what we said, because there's two things going on. One is that we need to change the left-hand rotation to a right-hand rotation, which is what the negation does. And then the other
Mhm.
is we have to go from north to south, which is what adding a full pi does, right? It moves it
Gotcha.
around the
Yep.
clock. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. That's rad. That's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty
Do
good.
you wanna hop in on some multiplayer for like a second
I do.
just to
I do.
end the stream? All
I'm
right.
gonna use I'm
Let
gonna
me do
use Chrome.
this. Yeah, hop into the Chrome. Let me ngrok HTTP 3000. What is it? Dash subdomain? Dash domain?
Oh God, I can never remember.
It's okay. It's already in my history.
Okay.
So Jeff and Dom dot ngrok.
Jeffandom.ngrok.io.
Yeah.
I think it might have crashed.
And I'm gonna restart it. I think somehow we are both. Oops. Oh no, I'll restart it over here. Give it a refresh.
Okay.
Oh, it's doing it again. What the fuck?
It's
Damn it.
almost as if we're overwriting memory, because I'm getting the same
Is it doing
thing.
this on on yours too?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Okay,
This
well,
will
my
be a
solution to this is to kill. I'm gonna kill the
fascinating
server.
bug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I am fascinated. I'm a little horrified.
And now it's
Uh,
choppy, but otherwise mostly playable.
so wait, so stop shooting, stop shooting.
Yeah.
I think it's dying when there's particles going on. Maybe not. Maybe there was just some
The
chop.
particles actually simulate very smoothly.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, they're pure simulation, right?
Hey, you know what?
This looks
One
great.
thing we did not recognize that we should celebrate is that our dedupes work beautifully.
Yeah, they're perfect. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, I was just like, is it gonna work? And it did. Yeah, I'm only seeing you shoot once per shot. It's great. This chop is very annoying.
It's pretty annoying. I'm turning off debug draw. It's very smooth without debug draw.
Oh, okay,
Well,
great.
I don't know about that. It's choppy it's choppy when we shoot, right?
So, I guess I'm gonna reload the
This
game.
already
I'm gonna
feels
do
good,
Shift
Dom.
R.
Um,
I know it's pretty cool, right? I gave it a Shift R. So I suspected this was as much. On reload, it's fucked.
so maybe on reload. Oh, is reload not rebuilding the particles emitter correctly, or they're not
I
garbage
bet
collecting
that's
the
what it
particle
is.
emitter?
Yeah, or perhaps we're holding on to a instance of the renderer. Something is going wrong though. It makes me think, yeah, maybe we've held on to the client render manager because this 2D context is also duplicated up here.
Why would that happen on? Oh, you're saying it happens on, like, if we do a Command Shift R.
Yeah, that's what does it.
Okay, what if we actually? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we've just got some weird. We're duplicating the renderer
Mhm.
multiple times, and we're drawing things.
Yeah, I think I have poisoned global memory in a weird way.
I love it.
Um,
I
yeah,
freaking love it.
and only when we're doing that fancy reload. So that's cool because the rebuild was working fine. It was only the shift reload that once shift reloaded, you're dead forever.
Yeah, that one is dodgy in the first place. Maybe we should re-implement it.
Shift reload.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because the rebuild comes through fine. Okay.
Yeah, the rebuild actually reloads the
I,
full page, and maybe shift reload should do the same.
I, exactly. I feel pretty okay about that because I can at least sort of I can buy what's happening, especially since we just added a bunch of global state um, that maintains things across
You know what would
frames.
prevent this, Dom?
Are you gonna say Rust? You were, weren't you?
I was. Um, Technically, it is. This is the type of thing that Rust is supposed to prevent. But all that stuff I said about
Totally.
like this feeling good to program, um, well, no
It's the
joke,
opposite of
it'll
Rust.
take us like a year plus to get to that point with Rust.
Yep, I believe that. What is this? 82? Shit. We did 82. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
82.
Okay. 82. The emittening.
Yeah.
Sounds a little cozy, actually.
Doesn't it? The emittening, just
Yeah,
like
it's like
slow
someone you're
close up
about to
to a
get some
hand.
mittens.
Just like the glove gets lowered down. Yeah.
Yeah, mittens GIF. Is there a mittens GIF?
Like Bernie mittens.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Here you go.
Yeah.
There's our end shot. No, man, give me the GIF I clicked. The GIF I clicked was better than what you're showing me. Ah, open image in new tab, please. Yeah, dude.
How does Giphy make money?
I don't know, but like, why are they the worst?
Are they the worst?
It's so unclear.
Just
Anyway,
the UI seems kind of
I
bad,
think
but
that. I mean, the UI is terrible.
I mean,
Well, it's like you can't actually copy this GIF.
oh yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Do you think maybe they like sell
Which is what they want.
gift packs to like, or like they sell?
I have
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one notion of how they make money, which is they GIF events for money. So like the Grammys, they made some GIFs, and they're like the Grammy GIFers.
Okay.
Yeah, so their thing is to like do you want something social to happen? Because we'll make a bunch of GIFs for it. It's like kind of clever, I guess.
I guess it is.
But also they make their GIFs impossible to get out of Giphy, so fuck them. They're
And that
NFTs.
concludes the stream for tonight. Fuck Giphy.
NFTs all the way down. Fuck Giphy. Sweet. Yeah.
Giphy, but with NFTs.
Giphy should get on that sweet
Are
NFT
we gonna do
game.
it?
Yeah, I know someone who would pay us money to do that. And so do you.
Man, I don't even think the current NFT format does content hashing, do they? It's just the URL and the little blob.
It's just a goddamn URL.
They don't even like hash the content of the image, right? Did they decide that it wasn't gonna matter?
I can't wait till someone's $1 million NFT is just offline.
I think it's already happening, right?
thrilled.
It's already happening where like
Oh
the
my
places
God.
where so basically what your NFT is actually the ownership of a URL and not an image, right?
Right. Which is the dumbest thing to learn. We know how hot linking works.
And even if
We've been doing this on the internet since time immemorial.
even if they did something content addressable like hashing the image content, you could still just change a pixel in the image and it'd be a completely different hash, right?
Yeah.
You know what it is that
dumb.
I just don't understand it. I think that's what the problem here is. I just don't understand.
I don't think the NFT people understand it either. I think they're full of it. Professional opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. We made some emitters tonight.
We-
That's the important part. And you can buy them as an NFT on Nifty Gateway.
Well,
Get over there.
we have a deduplication system, so nothing gets past that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Each emitter is a bespoke handcrafted NFT that you see destroyed before your very eyes.
So what we really learned 82 streams into this project is that we're the greatest. That's the lesson at the end of the day.
It's weird because I think we knew that on like stream 2 as well, but it's definitely coming up on stream.
That's right, because we did make that one breakout game, which I believe still ranks up there, and like, there's a lot of recency bias in the top 10 lists, but I'm pretty sure that's up there.
Absolutely. I don't even have it checked out right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna boot it up. It's just too good. My computer can't handle it.
Yeah. I actually probably think it'll like have frame rate issues on an M1 Mac or something like that.
Oh, it'd be fun to find out. Yeah.
No, I mean it runs in the
performance is
browser,
just
so it's
too
probably
good.
still 60 FPS or whatever. Whatever.
Yep.
We're past that. I don't even
Whatever.
talk about
This
Breakout
this
anymore.
shoots triangles.
Dude, this friggin' little mutt, adorable little mutt. I can't believe we still
It's
have
really
the
great.
dog.
Man, we got the dog. The dog is life. Yeah, I like this. I think we should add some hits in there.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that it'd be nice if it had like a little dust trail behind it as it moved.
Or when it dashes, a little dash trail.
Oh, dash especially, but like even just like a little rumble for movement and then a big rumble for dashing.
Dude, particle systems are your jam in video games. I can tell because just like your eyes kind of light up with the
So,
possibilities.
the game design is my jam, baby. I can yeah, I can see once I got the raw materials, I can see what to do with them.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, it's just the high school trigonometry that eludes me.
All
I
right.
should go back to high school.
Oh, dude,
I should take some math classes. Is what
wouldn't
I
that be
should do.
amazing? It's like now that schools are reopening, we should let Dom back in. I'll start the petition, the Act Blue
Yeah, please
petition.
please start a change.org. What's the what's the Eric Andre let me in? Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking weirdo, but I'm glad he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. I'm gonna click the stop button. How does that sound?
All right, bye Twitch. Sounds good.
Good night, Twitch.